And for the month of February, we have Colin Powell School at 91%, Maria Yates 89%, Neil Armstrong Elementary School, we are at 90, Maria Yates 89%, Neil Armstrong 91%, Seton Prairie 93%, Woodgate Elementary School, we are at 92%, and Woodgate Pre-K at 87%. Our enrollment as of February, we have Colin Powell at 610. We have Neil Armstrong at 283. Woodgate 326. Maria Yates 263. Seton Prairie at 259 for a grand total of 1,741 students. I'm going to skip down because we have two presentations and we're still working on our we're almost there, our technical difficulties. We actually will be able to start with Mrs. McCaskill and, are you both coming? Okay, and Mrs. Willard from Seton Prairie.
Good evening.
Hi. Mrs. McCaskill, you'll have to turn the mic on so that we'll be able to hear you.
Good evening, board, Dr. Brunson, visitors, and community. I come to you today in the spirit of, let's say, Women History Month, and also in the spirit of building capacity amongst our leaders in District 159. I have accompanying me Ms. Rose Willard, who is my assistant principal.
Good evening, everyone.
So we're going to tell you, welcome to Seton Prairie School. Next slide, please. I'm going to keep on moving, where our Seton Prairie's, where Seton Prairie's vision is hinged on having high expectations for learning, building relationships, and engaging the learner. Ultimately, it is our commitment to develop the whole child to become a lifelong learner who is first class in a world-class society. At Seton Prairie, next slide. Next slide. At Seton Prairie, we have definitely some things we want to celebrate, and we're going to call those our GLOWs as it relates to our NWEA data analysis. As you see, for ELA, kindergarten, first grade, and fifth grade exceeded their projected growth. In math, kindergarten and third grade exceeded their projected growth. First grade met their projected growth. Science, third grade and fifth grade exceeded their projected growth. The percentages that you see there indicate all students or those students who met their RIT target. Our instructional practices and celebrations continue to be that we are embracing and utilizing the educational epiphany by Dr. Dickey. Likewise, through that program, we have learned to be sure that we have a performance-based objective, making sure that it is inclusive within our lesson plans, as well as visible in all classrooms. We also are focusing in on one objective, as well as being sure that we are annotating the text and really building that conceptual understanding as it relates to the academic language, the unfamiliar vocabulary, and the content vocabulary. Likewise, we are continuing to use the interpretation and resource guides that also support HMH and Reveal Math. And we continue to encourage and celebrate our efforts to be sure that we are writing across the curriculum and hence preparing our students for extended responses.
Our areas of growth for ELA, second, third, and fourth grades, those are our grade levels of focus. For math, second grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade, those are our grade levels of focus. And for science, we have fourth grade, which is our grade level of focus. For our instructional practices, while some of these were GLOWs, we also understand that we have to grow in these areas continuously. So utilizing the interpretation guides to align with our current district curriculum of HMH and Reveal Math, utilizing the interpretation cards with Fidelity, as well as spiral teaching, measurement and data, as well as geometry in the area of math.
Our instructional focus and goals for ELA continue to be the educational epiphany, being sure to, again, include the SWABOT and IOT, and building that conceptual understanding, and being very sure that we are teaching to the standards. Again, some duplication with the annotated text, and really building our students' foundational skills, making sure that they are really able to read that letter sounds and phonics and phonemic awareness, the informational text, as well as answering two-part questions. And we're also being very sure to focus in on comprehension with the key ideas and details.
Our action plans for ELA include the following: building and enhancing foundational skills, i.e. the areas of phonics, phonemic awareness, and those areas that Mrs. McCaskill already mentioned. Differentiating our instruction, guided reading, fidelity of guided reading, guided small group instruction, utilizing the MTSS with Fidelity, as well as asking more depth of knowledge level 3 and 4 questions. And we have started yesterday with diving deeper into our data with Data Day Part 2 with our teachers.
Instructional focus and goals for math consist, again, you see the correlation and continuation of educational epiphany, so on and so forth, moving on down to the mathematical practices, being sure and very sure that our students are able to problem solve, operations and algebraic thinking, putting emphasis on place value, number sense and numbers in operation, building students' fact fluency, basically so that they know how to add, subtract, multiply, divide with automaticity, and being sure that we're focusing in on measurement and data as well as geometry.
Our action plan to improve in mathematics includes spiral teaching, math skills and strategies, improving utilization of distributed practices by addressing place value, guided math, fidelity of guided small group instruction, increasing stamina, perseverance, and problem solving, building math fluency, as Mrs. McCaskill stated earlier, and improving focus, providing rigor, and again, diving deeper into our data that we began yesterday.
Our action plan for science, again, is measurable and attainable as we continue to expand our usage of claim, evidence, and reasoning in all of the sciences. Also utilizing our TCI curriculum, mystery science, science labs, science projects, as well as STEM activities, and being assured that we take advantage of this wonderful STEM facility that is here.
Now we move over to attendance, where we talk about student and staff attendance data. I know Dr. Brunson just mentioned our average daily attendance for Seton Prairie at this particular time. We are at 93.1%. And then for staff attendance data, I had it through December at 92.20%. Some of what we're trying to do to improve attendance and encourage, making sure that people, our staff is here, and also our students. Some of the things we have in place: certificates, quarterly recognition, year-end celebrations, as well as a field trip for all students who had perfect attendance the entire year. Our plan of action for improving attendance on the student end is a tiered level, where tier 1 is more universal, where we make a phone call to the parent on that particular day. For tier 2, where it's more early intervention, a phone call, email, or letter, a parent conference, and involving a resource officer if necessary. And of course, tier 3, which is more of an intensive intervention where we would involve district administration.
So the next slides showcase our Mustang moments, and it ranges the gamut from our family reading night all the way over until you see our student council assembly where our students gave their campaign speeches. It continues on where you see one of our ELL teachers, and moving on across as you see various things. We're also very proud of our partnerships that we have with Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, as well as Matson Public Library with the STEM activities that they engage our students with. Ultimately, it is truly a teamwork effort because, well, as everyone knows, teamwork definitely makes the dream work. So, with that being said, we are again the home of the Mustangs, where learning is personalized by a unique set of experiences. And amongst those unique set of experiences, I had the pleasure of reading The Listening Learner, which was a recommendation from our very own superintendent, Dr. Brunson. And my takeaways from that basically entail that we must truly be willing and ready to support and create a space for equity. Within creating that space, we need a common language as it relates to equity. Also realizing that we all have biases. Many of those are implicit biases, and we must know that we can change that through reconditioning, because if we don't, it continues to be very destructive and pervasive. So we move that on around to the next pendulum within that discussion, and what my takeaway was to really embrace cultural diversity. We have to be sure that we are taking a stance as it relates to looking through our cultural lens and saying that you matter, you belong, no matter what, and listening and remaining humble. So with that being said, this concludes our presentation. Thank you, and good evening again.
Well, I do have a question.
Yes, yes.
So we did follow her with Educational Epiphany.
Yes.
And so we had a lot of positive feedback, so we've never heard from you all in regards to your feedback for Education Epiphany and what it's like for your school.
Yes, for our school, we are definitely, as I mentioned, we are embracing it.
Well, I do have
Our
a question.
teachers,
I do have a question.
do understand
So we did
that we have to
follow
build this
her with
common
Educational Epiphany.
understanding of,
And so we had a lot of
domain tier
positive feedback, so
vocabulary.
we've never
yes,
heard from
we
you all in
embrace it.
regards to your
Our
feedback for
students have
Education Epiphany
embraced
and
it. It is a learning
what
process.
it's like for your
They are
school.
still, yes, for our school, we are
you know, at
definitely,
different
as
levels,
I mentioned, we
but
are embracing it.
we're getting
our
there
teachers
with the support of
do
district
understand
as well
that
as,
we have to build
the
this
training that we
common
continue to have in the
understanding
resources.
of
Okay.
domain
That's
tier
important.
vocabulary.
Yes, that's
So,
important.
yes, we
Okay.
embrace it.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Our students have embraced it. It is a learning process. There are still, at different levels.
I just wanted to tell
but
you ladies that I
we're
appreciate
getting
everything
there
that you're
with the
doing,
support of district as
and I
well
love you very
as,
much.
the training that we continue to have in the resources.
Okay.
And I
That's
believe
important.
key.
Yes, that's important.
Our other principal
you.
report, we were supposed to have a report from Mr. Payne from Mario Yates. Mr. Payne, are you
I
prepared
just
to give
wanted
your
to tell
report?
you ladies that I appreciate everything that you're doing,
Did you share
and
it
I love
with
you
us?
very much.
Who did you share it with? Who did you share it with? Our other principal report, we were supposed to have a report from Mr. Payne from Mario Yates. Mr. Payne, are you prepared to give your report? Okay,
Did
Mr.
you-
Moore has it. Share it with us? Who did you share it with? Who did you share it with?
Okay. He has it?
Okay, Mr. Moore has it.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For those of you that may not know, Angela Barnes, my assistant principal. We have spent the year together and having a good time doing it. Good evening,
I'm
everyone.
sorry, I'm
Good
height
evening.
challenged, so my mood is down just a little bit.
For those
So we
of
just
you
want to share
that
with
may
you
not
our
know,
school vision.
Lauren,
We
my assistant
aspire
principal.
to inspire
We have spent the year
educational
together
endeavors
and
for
having a
all
good time
learners
doing
to lead, innovate, and access their talents and gifts in order to be productive citizens and role models of the future. Sorry, I'm height challenged, so my mood is down just a little bit. So we just want to share with you our
So
school vision.
what we have
We
is our
aspire
academic
to
improvement goals
inspire
that we made at the
educational
beginning of the school
endeavors
year.
for all
In
learners
NWEA
to
math,
lead,
from beginning of the
innovate,
year to middle
and
of the
access
year,
their talents
we
and gifts in
decreased
order to
the
be
low
productive
and low
citizens
average
and role
by
models of the
7%,
future.
from 140 students to 130 students. Our goal moving forward from the middle of the year to the end of the year is an additional goals that we made at the beginning of the school year. In
ELA,
NWEA math, from beginning of the year to middle of the year, we decreased the low and low average over 9% by 7%, from 140 students to 130 students. So our goal moving forward from the middle of the year to the end of the year is an additional 5%. In middle of the year
ELA.
to end of the year. From beginning of the year to middle of the year, we decreased.
Okay, so now
our
on to
students in the
instructional
low
improvements
and
from
low
the beginning of the
average
year to the
over
middle of the
9%,
year. The data
9.7%
that,
from
yeah, there we go. The data
123
that you would see here
students to
came from
111
our
students.
formal,
Our goal
informal,
again is to
and
decrease
just
that
pop
number by an
ins
additional
using our data tool
5%
that we use when we
in
pop in.
middle of the
So we
year
have
to end of the
95%
year.
of our teachers have evidence and lesson
now on
plans
to
and
instructional
posted
improvements
performance-based
from the beginning of the
objectives.
year to the
We do
middle of
have
the year.
one
The
teacher
data
that is struggling.
there we go. The data that you will see here regularly and accurately annotate performance-based
and just
objectives,
pop in
again,
using our
that
data
one
tool that we
teacher
use when we
struggling.
pop in. So we
This
have
last one, I
95%
wanna
of our
see if you all
teachers
catch that math there. We
have
got 79%
evidence in lesson
15
plans
out of
and
19.
posted performance-based
Hopefully you'll pay attention to
objectives.
where I'm
We
going.
do have
15
one
out of
teacher
19
that is
have
struggling.
evidence of explicitly
95%
teaching
of those
academic
teachers
language to
regularly
students.
and
5
accurately
Y'all
annotate
catch the math
performance-based
there?
objectives. Again,
Okay, 15 out of
that one
19
teacher
and 5. So we
struggling.
threw in that extra one, so we
This
want to
last one,
explain
I wanna
those
see if you
5.
all catch
Again,
that
we
math
have the
there.
one
We got
struggling.
79%,
We have
15 out of
3 that we
19.
don't see
Hopefully you'll pay attention to
explicit
where I'm going.
teaching
15
of the
out of
academic
19
language. We
have
have
evidence
caught
of
it
explicitly
seen it
teaching academic
consistently.
language
So we have
to
3 that
students.
we have to work
5.
with.
And then we
Y'all
have
catch
one
the math
additional
there?
teacher that
Okay,
she's
15 out of
familiar
19
with
and
it, but just
5. So we
needs a
threw
little
in
bit
that
of
extra one,
assistance.
so we
So
want to
that's how we
explain
went
those
from
5, the 4.
Again, we have
to
the one
5.
struggling.
Don't want
we
you to
have
think we
3
can't
that we
count
don't
over here.
see explicit teaching of the
So
academic
what
language.
we've done
we
also
haven't caught it
is
well,
we've
seen it
selected some
consistently.
teachers
So we
and
have 3
actually
that we have to
videoed
work with,
one
and then we
teacher
have one
explicitly
additional
teaching
teacher
her
that
academic language.
she's familiar
That
with it, but just
20-minute
needs a little bit of
video will be
assistance. So
posted. I'm
that's how
having
we went
problems
from
uploading
the
such a
4
large
to the
video
5.
so that I can
Don't want
share
you to
it
think
with
we
all
can't
teachers,
count
and those
over
5
here.
teachers will be met with individually.
So what
that we
we've
can
done
go over,
also is we've
how
selected
to
some
improve that
teachers and
practice.
actually videoed one teacher
As
explicitly
we
teaching
have
her academic
done a book study
language.
with the
that
district
20-minute
level
video will be
administration,
posted.
we
I'm
have,
having problems
some
uploading such a
points
large
of,
video so that I
the
can
listening
share it with
leader.
all teachers, and those
So
5 teachers
several points
will
that
be met
resounded
with
with me are
individually so that we can
deep
go over
listening,
strategic
how
listening,
to
and I don't need to
improve
read
that
those to you,
practice.
but those have really
As
resounded with
we
me.
have
But
done a book study
relational
with
capital,
the
something that
district
we
level
build,
administration,
like
we
a bank
have,
account, when we
some
actually
points
take the time
of,
to listen and
the
show
listening leader.
individuals that we really care.
So several points that
the other thing is
resounded with me are,
affirmations.
as
Deep
human
listening,
beings, we need
strategic
positive
listening.
feedback.
And I
from
don't need to
people.
read
We
those to
crave
you,
it.
but
Even
those
adults
have
crave it.
really
And
resounded with
we
me.
need to make sure
But
that
relational
we
capital,
are
something that we
doing those
build
things so that
like a
our
bank account,
individuals
when
can
we
realize
actually
how
take
much
the
we care
time
for
to
them
listen
as we
and
do
show
this work
individuals
together.
that we really care.
The other thing is
the other thing
affirmations.
things that we've
as
worked on
human
this school
beings,
year is
we need
we've
positive
incorporated
feedback
a
from
school
people.
vision.
We crave it. Even
um,
adults crave
as
it.
you've heard,
and
as we
we
opened up
need
our
to make sure
presentation.
that
we
we
are
are
developing
doing
a
those
school
things so
mission.
that our individuals
There's
can
also been a
realize how
paradigm
much we
shift.
care for them
We
as
have
we do this
focused
work
on
together.
looking at the
The other
curriculum
thing
as the guide.
things that
That's
we've
not the
worked
guide.
on this school
The
year
standard is the
we've
guide
incorporated
that
a
we
school
must
vision
look at.
Then we,
as you've heard,
turn around
up our presentation.
we're using
We
those
are
educational
developing
epiphany
a
resources
mission
to support teachers.
There's also been a
and help
paradigm
them
shift
through the
the
planning
we have
process.
focused on.
We've also
looking
are
at
planning to
the curriculum as the
incorporate
guide. That's not the
fluency
guide.
in
The standard
ELA
is the
and
guide
math
that
to
we
increase
must
automaticity
look at.
and prosody. Then we
So students don't
turn
have
around
to expend their
we're
capital,
using those educational epiphany
in
resources
word calling,
to support
actually
teachers and help
taking that
them
time
through
and
the planning process,
increasing that fluency so that
we've
now
also
we can
are planning
focus
to
on comprehension.
incorporate fluency in
and we continue
ELA
to learn
and math, implementing
to increase
and supporting
automaticity and
educational
prosody.
epiphany strategies.
So students don't have to
It
expend
has
their
leveled the playing
capital,
field for us. It's allowed
in
us to
word
speak
calling,
the same language,
but
if
actually
you will.
taking
It
that
takes
time
a lot of the
and
guesswork
increasing
from
that
teachers
fluency
now,
so that now
right
we
here
can
in plain English,
focus on
so that we
comprehension.
can move forward with that. And we continue to learning, implementing.
Okay, so
and
we see here
supporting
we're
educational
focusing on the
epiphany
student
strategies.
attendance for quarters 1,
It
2, and
has
3.
leveled the playing field for
Quarter
us. It's
2, if you see
allowed
that
us
number has dropped
to
a
speak
little
the
low.
same
That's
language,
around
if you
those
will.
winter months.
It takes a lot of
That
the
was when
guesswork
RSV was
from
on the
teachers. Now
rise.
it's right here in plain
We had
English.
plenty of babies that
so that we
had
can
RSV.
move
We
forward
had
with that.
staff that had babies with RSV. So we had
Okay, so we
quite a
see
few
here we're
attendance
focusing on the
issues
student
during that time.
attendance
And
for
then, as it
quarters
was
1,
mentioned
2,
in third
and
quarter, we have
3.
89%. Quarter 2, if you see that
here,
number has
our
dropped a
staff
little low. That's
attendance
around those winter months.
is
That was
about
when
average
RSV
around
was on the rise.
93%, I'm gonna say that.
We did have
plenty of
5
babies
teachers
that
that
had
had
medical
RSV.
care.
We had staff that
Two
had
of which
babies
were
with
long-term
RSV. So we had
FMLA.
quite a few attendance
And of course, we know
issues
after
during that
COVID,
time. And
we
then,
were
as it was
encouraging
mentioned in
staff
third
and
quarter, we
students
have
to stay home if you don't feel
89%.
well.
As
Considering
you can see here,
we don't know
our
what the
staff
issue is,
attendance,
and
sometimes the test results didn't
about
come back
average
as
around
soon as we wanted
93%,
them.
I'ma
It would
say
stay
that.
home. We did have 5
just for the
teachers under
safety of
long-term
everybody
medical
in
care,
the building.
2 of which
So,
were long-term
therein lies our
FMLA.
attendance.
And of course, we know after
Next slide.
COVID, we were encouraging staff and
Okay.
students to stay home if you don't feel well, considering we don't know what
I'm
the
sorry.
issue is.
Pardon
And,
me and my
sometimes
memory, trying to
the
be
test
short-winded
results
here.
didn't come back
Our
as soon
incentives
as we
that we
wanted
have
them.
for
It
our
was stay
students,
home,
we're doing
just for the safety of everybody in the building. So therein lies our attendance. Next slide. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me and my memory, trying to be short-winded here. Our incentives that we have for our students, we're doing a Fruit Snack Friday for those that have 100% attendance. We don't have that many, but we want to encourage students to always be there. Come, even
So,
if you got a
for the
headache,
next
just
few
come
months,
and
we
work
are
through
taking
it.
the
We
top
do it
3
as
adults, so we want to
highest
encourage the
attendance
children to do
rates.
that.
And
So
we
we will
also
be
doing
providing
out of
them lunch or a
uniform
gift
passes,
certificate
and they've
to
earned an
one of their
extra
favorite
gym
restaurants.
period. So again,
And
we've
that's
been
coming out of Mr.
monitoring the
Payne's
attendance now for
and
the
I's
pocket. You see how quiet I got on my pocket. Okay, now we can go ahead to the next slide. So our parental involvement, we started off the year with movie night. We saw Sing 2. That was my first movie night at an elementary school, mosquitoes and all. Everybody was out. Okay. You see how quiet I got on my pocket. Okay, now we can go ahead to the next slide. So our parental involvement, we started off the year with movie night. We saw Sing 2. That was my first movie night at an elementary school, mosquitoes and all. Everybody was out there. We had a great time. Mr. Payne was on the grill. We had over 100 folks out there watching the movie. Yeah, some of you all were there. Then we had our family reading night. Their thing was camping. So we had a lot of, those are our very gorgeous staff members over there on the left. And then we have our students over here on the right that were there and enjoying that night. Then on the left was my first grandparents' day at an elementary school. I see Santa over there. I'm sorry, Santa over there. But I'm going to go back before I talk about Santa. Our grandparents' day was my first one at an elementary school. And you all, I felt like I was at a revival. I had not seen that many grandparents. And I say that because it seemed like it was a time where grandparents aren't coming out. They came out in droves that time. We had a phenomenal time. First Lady Bronson was there visiting with us. Yes, I said First Lady. Okay, so moving forward, Christmas here on the left. phenomenal event. The children sang songs. Then on the right, you all can see Mr. Payne and Coach with, was that icing, whipped cream? Pie, okay. So I don't even remember what the challenge was, but I was blessed and honored to put the pie in the face. I don't even know what it was, but Mr. Payne took it like a soldier and wore the pie in his face for the rest of the day. Is that the last of the pictures? That's it. That concludes our presentation from the Knights, Maria Yates Knights.
You touched based on educational epiphany, so that's pretty much my only question, with that being our new venture that we're testing out to improve teachers and our students.
My t-shirt? I'm looking at the t-shirt. Oh, we just, we had to represent the building. Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and I couldn't find. Everybody wear t-shirts today. Yes. No, just to represent Maria Yates. For your presentation. Yes.
So no T-shirts for us? Okay, when I get on the grill with you, Mr. Payne, I'll have a T-shirt?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You say grill, I'm there.
Okay.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jordan, are we ready for maybe Tria? Thank you all for bearing with us. We're testing out a lot of new technology, and then some of this is in real time, so we appreciate it.
We should have got one of our babies to work it. They did it for 2 years.
All right, it works. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Tom Zerga from Tree Architecture, so I'm here to present the proposed addition for Seton Prairie. So we had some exciting conversations already with the administration, 3 design meetings so far. So I just kind of want to present where we're at with the board. I don't know if you want to lead us in, or you want me to just go ahead?
I'll let you go.
Okay.
I won't steal your thunder,
All right.
Tom.
All right, so we had some changes. I mean, all for the better. It's actually been very exciting to kind of, work on this project together with Dr. Brunson. So we did some renderings tonight. They'll show you kind of where we're at, but really looked at, instead of just an addition of just space on the building, really looked at kind of what your needs were and try to kind of promote, the science and education and technology into the district, kind of stemming from this building and stemming to the other building as well. So kind of, had a kind of a theme with that. So with that, how small it'll be here. All right, so overall, in the gray here, it's all Seton Prairie. So we kind of,
Can you make it bigger?
don't know how to. I think you do it right click then. I have a large one as well.
No biggie, we can.
I have a large, different slides bigger as well. So overall, the gray area is all the existing building. The green indicates the existing media center that kind of came into play, and the existing computer lab that's not really being utilized right now to its fullest. The orange represents the hallways that were going to be a separate project that are now being incorporated into the project. We did all the classrooms last summer. And then the blue area is the addition. So before, the addition was always proposed on the west side of the building, the existing parking lot over here. The new playground is in this back corner. That should be finished up now that the weather's getting warmer and they can be able to pour the rubber surface. So a lot of exciting things happening in this building. So instead of just adding just raw space and just kind of figure it out as you go, for the same amount of new square footage, we talked about doing a media center, a new media center, or a media lab, so it's kind of a universal space for everything, promoting technology, just space overall, and then two early childhood classrooms in this new addition. So then taking the media center that's over here now in this other underutilized computer lab, we're actually gaining now 5 classrooms overall in the building. So you had a media center, you'll still have a brand new media center now, and now you have 2 new early childhood and 3 general classrooms in this area. So a total of 5 classrooms and a new media center, as opposed to just adding 4 classrooms on this space. So that was exciting just to have those conversations with the team and kind of promote that. Let me go to the back to your files. So I'll just kind of,
Say I'm here for the architect.
All right, so on the addition is blue area, so there's a new entrance, this is the end of the building right now, so new entrance for the early childhood center and also just for egress. The media center is pretty open with the reception area right off the doorway, an open overall, tall ceiling, dynamic space for the media center, just promoting with furniture, different areas to congregate, collaborate. There's a space over here that can be utilized for small group space. We have a large group that you can have an entire classroom with a presentation board in this corner, book stacks, reading area. So it's not just a regular library, it's a media resource center, which is now kind of a media lab, where it's actually now being utilized that you want kids to interact. You want them to have group space and interact with each other. So the space has to help promote that. So with large group, but also with small group. So in a small group, it's kind of like a conference room. So it allows the children to have maybe 3, 4, 5 work together in small group projects, log in like on a screen to another school, work with other kids around the country. And it's also a space that they wanted to have a green room space. So they have a green board back there. The 2 early childhood classrooms over here are basically just general classrooms, but they're catered towards little children. They have their own handicap accessible bathrooms in each one. There's a couple sinks in here, and there's some cubbies, and then the teacher space as well. Again, I have some other slides that kind of show vibrant colors and all that stuff, so really making it an energetic space. In addition to that, I know we talked as a board last time, we actually added a stairwell. So it's a stairwell not to a second floor, but it's a stairwell to the roof for maintenance. So I know that was a challenge before, so just to have easier access to the building, to the rooftop, that's now incorporated in the new design. The green areas again, these are right now. This is a classroom right now, or a computer lab. It has a small little little glass conference room. We're going to keep that as is. Just build a wall. This is a new wall. This is the media center right now. It's 2 spaces, but it can very easily create a wall. And these 3 classrooms are exactly the same size as all the classrooms in that wing. So it's very equal. With this one, the media center, if you're familiar with that space, has a doorway on this side and a lot of glass. So this one, we were talking about, you have a new door for the classroom, but this could be a science lab. And taking advantage of and trying to save reuse materials that we don't need to tear them down. So there's existing glass. We want to promote that kids can walk by the space and actually see into the science lab. So So it's a nice science lab right across from the commons area, the cafeteria. Has a couple sinks, and then, but it'll be deemed as a science lab. But again, the staff can change it, but that was what we talked about, doing the science room there. Any questions on the plan? I got a bunch of cool renderings I'm going to show you as well. That's the fun
I
stuff.
love the fact that it touches on our early childhood because we have a 40 students on the waiting list for our early childhood education program. It's the only station that we're getting currently.
But these will be filled day one. And then with the addition of the playground that's being built back there, again, there's another exit, of course, on the north end, which will lead right to the playground and the new play area. So this is just one of the early childhood classrooms, just a rendering of the inside. So we kind of talked in detail. Again, it's just the hallway, with the door to the hallway. We talked about interior cubbies. And again, we're still designing. We're still about a third of the way through, so there's still a lot of conversation and feedback. So this is just kind of where we're at to date, but I want to show you some 3D renderings to kind of show it. All furniture will be flexible and colorful, and again, promoting groups, kids, four kids talking at a time, or 28 talking at a time. Here's the sinks inside the classroom. Another unique thing we're having in here is, instead of having just a large teacher desk in the middle of the classroom, we're doing a built-in area along the hallway side. You have teacher storage, but there's a built-in teacher desk, so that they can have their own space, they can lock stuff up there, but it really helps promote that the teacher's always kind of walking around in the classroom while the kids are there. So they have their own space to do their work, but it's really encouraging them to be and interact with the kids throughout the day, as opposed to having a big giant desk in the corner. So that's just kind of a trend we've been doing. Here, nice little nook. So we have on one wall, instead of just having a standard, do chalkboards anymore, but even just having a standard whiteboard, marker board, we want to do the entire wall. So this entire wall on this side is a full height marker board, magnetic still. So with the early childhood, you got teachers, you got little kids, so it really just gives them a whole range of interactive wall surface. Then the smart TV's on there as well. But in this little cove, there's a tackboard surface, so that you could have 6 kids learning on the marker board. You could have another group in the tech area learning time or whatever technology. So it really kind of creates just a standard classroom, a standard rectangular classroom, but we're creating zones with colorful walls and furniture and carpeting, so it's a fun space. This is just the other side. Lots of windows, and it should be a view at the top. So you can kind of see if you took the roof off, that's the kind of view. So having the flooring, this is all the same flooring we just installed at Seton Prairie, the same color. Maybe bringing in this is the LVT, so it's very easy to clean up. So anywhere there's near water, we'll have LVT, but bringing in that natural wood, a natural warm color. There will be some carpeted area, and all the furniture is very flexible, so that you can kind of promote education and change it throughout the day, change it from quarter to quarter. All right, so that's any questions for the typical early childhood classroom? Okay. And outside, so here's the overall existing building from my cursor going to the right. So you have the main entrance here, the drop off. This is the commons area, or the cafeteria, and the gym. The yellow is the new playground in the back. So again, this is that new now addition on the side here. So promoting a higher tech look. The metal panel, which is probably very similar, actually it is similar to this building that we're in now. I mean, you can see on the outside, it's the same material. And then the classrooms in the back. We are going to match the brick that's on the front of the building, so it kind of still blends in with the overall community. So that's the new media center. So it has its own entrance over here. This is the existing Seton Prairie. So again, we want to, instead of just being 4 walls and a couple of windows, want to really make it dramatic and dynamic. And it gives you a signature of the building from the outside into the community that, this is a new high-tech space, not just space. It's actually, really promoting your curriculum. Even along the side here, You're utilizing the space. Right now, it's all just from the edge of the building to the parking lot, it's just all a sea of asphalt. So we're trying to break that up. The addition will do most of that. But there's a lot of power poles and power lines that are above that, prevent us from getting any closer. But we can landscape that area very nicely, and connect the front of the building to the back, and even promoting, raised garden beds. This kind of shows flowers in there, but it could be whatever you want. So it's learning inside, learning outside, hands-on, and softening the space overall. So I think it's going to be a really nice addition on the west side and really soften the edge and really blend it with the community very nicely. Back side, it's just another view from the looking there. So it's kind of a unique, fun thing we did was, kind of throw a little bit of the school color, the blue in there on the other side. It's like something you don't see until you kind of approach the building. And last one I have here is just the other side. So this is the hard surface play area. You get a little glimpse of the new playground there in the corner. And then that's the 2 new early childhood classrooms. Again, lots of natural light. We did try to match this part of the building to the rest of the building, so we're not just, making everything look different just to look different. We wanted to blend in, but we did want the media center or this media lab to really kind of stand out. So that was the direction we worked with. Been extremely exciting, fun to work with administration on this one, and that's kind of where we're at today.
Very nice.
So just to confirm, Mrs. Owens, this is still the funding that we had left over from ESSER funding, so it's still pretty much grant money that we're using? More than a majority, okay. Awesome.
And schedule-wise, we are looking to be out to bid in June with completion August 16th, so it's ready for the 2024-25 school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. It's really important to think about when we were looking at the space and then really thinking about our needs, and we have these great needs as it relates to early childhood, and a vision of mine is to expand it so that all of our students, all of our elementary school buildings have early childhood classrooms. So this is just the beginning to see the possibilities, and since we were opening the walls and tearing some things down, I said just expand it. Instead of just the 3 classrooms, let's make it, go into the 21st century and really thinking about how do we make this, thinking about it future ready. And this is what we're striving to do. So thank you very much, Tom. And we were able to work with the Seton Prairie administration and put it all together.
Awesome.
All right, the next thing we will move down to would be the approval of our 2023-2024 calendar. So we worked with 163, 162, and 227. So our calendars almost mirror each other because that was really important, especially with the high school, because we wanted to make sure that we were off at the same time, because we have lots of families that have children at the elementary school district as well as the high school district. So I just want to highlight a few things. School for the first day for all students would be 8:16, and the last day would be 5:30. I do want to highlight a couple things I think parents would be happy about, is that we will have the full week for Thanksgiving. We will have that week off, so the 20th of November until the 24th. We do know that that is a time where our attendance is pretty low because families are leaving, and we want to make sure that we're not missing out on any instructional time. And then, of course, our winter breaks, all of those things are matching with 227. We are proposing to change Pulaski Day to Harriet Tubman Day, and that is also 163, 162, and 227. We are all changing that day in honor of the legend Harriet Tubman. She actually was born and died in the month of March, so that is the reason why that was chosen. And for the most part, those are just the highlights that are changes. The rest of it is pretty standard and pretty similar to what we have now. But again, those are just some highlights. Do we have any questions from the board?
No question.
Okay.
Question?
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to the policy 110 final read. There are just some things that we just need to update, like who are our McKinney-Vento liaisons and things like that. And so this is just we get the draft of these policies, and now we're just going to go into where it is going to be approved and adopted. We just need to update those. The next would be our salary range. So we have a salary range for our teachers. The teachers have a CBA, so they negotiate and, based on steps and lanes, how teachers are paid. So one of the things that, as it relates to all other positions that are outside of that, we want to make sure that we are meeting the industry standard. And so that if we are hiring people, that everyone knows like what would be the range for a particular position. And all of these are competitive salaries that are on par with our surrounding districts. And so our board, we worked hard to do a salary analysis in comparison to 15 other districts, and where did 159, where did we fall, and to make sure that we are able to hire retain the highest quality of people and that sit in every seat in our district. So that's what the salary range is for. The next is Panorama. So currently we use an SEO screener, which is called Satchel Post. And ISB has emotional intelligence and social emotional learning standards that we have to teach. And in order to provide that, we are trying to look at our students' well-being, and we're talking about educating the whole child. We have SEL standards that we must address. And so right now we have Satchel Post. It's only a screener, but it doesn't provide us everything that we need. And so Panorama is a much more robust program, and it also provides us with, it's a tool that our teachers and interventionists can use. It's kind of a one-stop shop data on academics, attendance, behavior, SEL. It's kind of putting it all together so we have a real clear understanding of where our students are and what our students' needs are. And so we want to start using Panorama. It also will help us with MTSS, PBIS, teaching those SEL standards, monitoring, providing us with the tools so that we can provide our students with the best social emotional learning and interventions and supports. And so it's going to give us everything that we need, and that's the reason why we're choosing that. Instead of having multiple platforms, everything will be on one platform. Do we have any questions?
Yes. Is there some type of what I want to say, like a video or something that we could watch on this program, or what is it? Is it saving anything? Are we getting rid of any additional programs that we used before we adopt this program?
Yeah, so we used to have Swiss, and we weren't using that, and so, but we do not currently have. What we do not have right now is we don't have a place to really house all of our where to house our behavior. Mm-hmm. One of these, the great thing about this is that it is something that we can watch our children as they matriculate from pre-K on all the way through our entire district. Mm-hmm. And it helps us. I think the most powerful part about this is once our kids have their SEL screener. And so ISB, we're required to have this, but what is important is that with the social emotional learning standards, if you give, like now, all we have is a screener. So meaning all the students get the screener, and it will tell us the areas that our students are struggling with, or areas that they need support with, if they need to have some social emotional learning or interventions. But right now, we do not have a playbook. We do not have the actual interventions. And so now this would provide us with those actual interventions that will connect to whatever the needs of our students are. And so it gives us everything in one platform, as opposed to 5 different platforms or 2 or 3 different platforms. And so it just streamlines everything. You're welcome. And also it works with PBIS, it works with MTSS, so it isn't like all these different areas and places to look for things. Really exciting is our transportation. We have been talking about transportation. We've been, Mrs. Owens and I have been working really hard we all know that there's a transportation issue. It is an issue from coast to coast. Lots of districts have just decided to not even have transportation because it is such, it is such a headache, or it's just hard to manage, or there's not enough people with CDL licenses. And so we have created a pretty comprehensive plan so that we can actually have people who work with us or hire people with CDL licenses, or we can give our people that we already have that work for us the opportunity to obtain a CDL license. And we also want to buy 2 buses. That will help with the issue of getting our children to and from the STEM Center during the day, but also in the event that we have a bus breakdown or we have someone call off from the bus company that we currently use, we are able to, right on the spot, use one of our own drivers and our own buses so that we can eliminate some of the issues that we currently have. Lots of districts are doing that, but we want to start off with 2 and then see, because then we put together a plan that talks about how much gas it will cost us. Of course, we know that gas changes depending on inflation and things like that. So we gave kind of a range, and we know that it should cost us about $90,000 a year to operate our own 2 buses and licenses and all of the kind of things that come with that. So that's the plan that we have, and we know that it will resolve a lot of the issues that we have, that we deal with on a daily basis. So do we have any questions?
This is the same plan you already showed us last.
Yes, this is the same plan. We just, we like to show it to the community and show it to you all and give you all an opportunity to ask any additional questions. And then we came back, we fine-tuned the plan when we gave it to you all first, then you asked for more things, and then we fine-tuned it. And then now this is where we are, and kind of ready to roll with that. So we appreciate the support our board has given us, as well as making sure that we can provide safe and efficient transportation for our students. The next are change orders. So I'll have Mrs. Owens come up, and then I know that Tom will also be able to answer some of those questions that we have as it relates to change orders.
Good evening, Board of Education, Superintendent, and ESD 159 family. Good evening, everyone. As he's pulling up my presentation, I'll go ahead and begin speaking on the change orders. If you can come on up with me, Tom. So the first, there are currently 5 change orders that are outstanding. However, I'm only bringing before the board 3 for approval. After having a meeting with all construction as well as reviewing it with Tom, the 3 that I'm presenting tonight, Tom and I are both in agreement. The first one is moisture mitigation. That is a process that is done after the concrete is laid to be tested to see if the moisture needs to be mitigated. If it does, then that particular treatment has to take place, because when you lay down the flooring, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, when you lay down the flooring, if there's too much moisture, it will ruin whatever you've laid down. So you don't know ahead of time what that's going to cost, because you don't know where within the concrete that's laid that moisture will be. So you have to test it first. Therefore, it is coming to us after it has been completed. So that's why I'm bringing that forward. Then there's another change order, number 30, for the diesel generator. This diesel generator is a third party to the village has requested this, so through the fire department. Once all construction reviewed the findings for the company, I can't remember their name offhand, but it's in my presentation. It was a shared document. It's like business services and HR. Sorry, moving forward. So that was a requirement by the fire department's third-party company. And as a result, when all construction reviewed it and saw the change, they decided, yes, this was something that was needed because the air fluctuating in and out of the building, it increased the quality of it. So it was necessary. And of course, it was afterwards. So after at the final inspection, which is when the project is pretty much almost complete, that's when they found that they had to go back and do this. So that's the reason why this has come after, and it wasn't something that we could have taken care of ahead of time. And then last but not least, the roof rebar. Now, Tom is gonna go in more detail. I understand what they had to do. There was a change in the contract, the way it was written originally, and the way that change was made. However, it was presented just recently for a change order, but it was listed as a request for information during the time that these things were going on. But I'll let Tom explain what that roof rebar really is.
First, 2730, perfect explanation. So 33 is a little bit more complicated. So in this building, being a new building with the newer codes, you're required to have. So for the roof rebar, so again, this building is a newer building. We're now required to have a tornado shelter. So one of the STEM center classrooms, actually for the little kids, that is an actual tornado shelter. So again, that is a building within a building. Can't really tell from the outside, but if a direct hit of a tornado hit this building, that classroom, that room would remain intact. It has bathrooms, it's fully functioning, it has a generator, as Ms. Owens said, so all things are required of a new building. So the roof rebar, so when we design a building, this is all for the precast, so big, massive precast planks to make that building safe. We have to publicly bid these jobs, and so it's open to many different companies. We don't know which ones get selected. We don't even know who the contractor is. That's part of the bidding process. So we design it one way, and then a subcontractor gets selected. They have different methods of doing their stuff, so we have to abide by that. So in the shop drawing phase, they had some additional rebar in their technology of doing it that required a change. So it is a legitimate change. It was after the fact, but it was part of the shop drawing, so not unusual. I think that was the last one of the three. And she has on here two other ones, there's 35 and 36. Those I've reviewed with my office. I still think there's some room to negotiate with the contractor, so I would say let's table those.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Yes, so change orders 35 and 36. We are currently in negotiations with All Construction. I requested that they submit a fair share cost. What we don't want is for them to have paid out-of-pocket expenses and we not at least reimburse that. What we're looking to negotiate is the dollar amounts out of pocket, but nothing in excess of that. And so we're currently negotiating, and I'll be working with Tom, and if need be, I'll be working with the attorneys as well if it comes to that, to resolve this matter. But I'm not bringing that before the board tonight for approval. Just wanted to update the board on where we are with those change orders. Any questions regarding change orders?
Yes. In regards to the moisture mitigation.
Yes.
When was the testing done? I know that you said it had been done after completion, but was it done prior to the building being occupied or halfway through? I'm confused on that part.
So it's in a new building, so it's the entire concrete slab. So they're pouring, miles of concrete for this building. So at that point, they let the moisture. There's lots of moisture in concrete. So the first 7 days, it releases a lot of moisture, but there's still moisture in there. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they would just put a fluoride on and call it a day. But now the companies, the flooring manufacturers are really dictating that there has to be a certain level of moisture in that slab. There's still moisture coming out of the slab today, and it will be for years, but it's just there's a certain tolerance that you can't tell until the day, basically when the flooring contractors come to install, they put a probe on it, and that day they figure out if it's going to meet or not. There's two ways of doing it. One, you do this coating. That coating locks that moisture in there forever, or you just wait till it naturally dries out, which could be a week, a month, 3 months, 4 months, you just don't know. So to keep the job moving, the moisture mitigation went down. that blocks it, maintains the warranty and all this for it.
And this was done prior to taking occupancy, or?
Yes. Oh, yeah, yes. So it's
Okay.
there's at the tail end of construction, so building is up, concrete's poured, walls are up, so once they're starting to paint the walls, put the carpeting in there, that's when it happens, at that step.
But with the change order though, wouldn't that have been something that when the testing was done and we realized that it was below standards, that it should have been presented then, opposed to going forth with it and assuming that we would pay for it?
You're correct. I mean, the contractor, I think, just to keep the job moving, they just did it. But yes, that is the correct way of presenting it. You're supposed to present the change order request before, get approval, then do it. But they maintained the schedule. I just think they just took it in their best interest to do it. But they were keeping the job moving. You know, they wanted to get the building done and delivered to you guys, so they just went ahead and did it. But you are technically correct.
So you're saying there are two ways to handle that moisture problem. One is to just let it dry out naturally, and the other is to pour something over it that seals it forever, basically?
Yeah, it's a liquid applied system that, you know, basically locks it in there. So there's moisture in the ground, always kind of comes up. The concrete, you know, it's thick, but it still kind of comes through. So that barrier, and you could, you know, we could design that ahead of time and into the documents, but then if you don't need it, now you overpaid for it. So you only use it when you need it. In this case, you happen to need it. Otherwise, again, you didn't know if it was going to take a week to dry out. It could take months.
And they did this, so we should never have to hear about this again,
Correct.
ever.
No moisture should get from the slab below us through. So
Okay.
now there's an actual barrier separating it.
Thank you.
In any event we do, is there a warranty on it?
It's the contrary, you're still in warranty mode with the general contractor, and then there's definitely warranties for that moisture mitigation system. I don't know if it's 5 years, or it could be 2 years. I don't know with the manufacturer, but there's the warranties for that stuff for sure.
All right, thank you.
Okay. If there are no other questions regarding the change orders, I'll go ahead and move forward in the presentation.
Yes.
Okay. So now I'll go into the fund balance for our current year and compare it to the fund balance January of prior year. So currently, thank you. Currently, if we were to end our school year, January of 2023, we would have a beginning balance of $38,776,100.10. Our revenue, $22,380,560.43. Expenditures, $25,509,952.35. And we would end up with a fund balance, should we end the year at January of 2023, of $35,646,708.18. Now, when comparing that to January of 2022, where the beginning balance was $38,098,840.11, almost identical. Revenue, $20,185,404.94. Expenditures, $21,792,265.29. And the fund balance would have been $36,491,979.76. What I want to point out to the board, as I explained during the last month's board meeting, we had revenues in December of 2022 at $14,482,019.44. And I explained that due to tax revenues starting to roll in, that should increase and be in the 20,000s. And as you see, we are currently sitting at the 22 million. We are currently sitting at the 22 million as I had projected. And so we are in good position because the revenues are coming in and they're starting to match more so the expenditures that we have. We still have plenty of revenue that will be rolling in from taxes and our other sources. So we'll be looking forward to that increasing month after month. Are there any questions regarding the fund balance? Very good. STEM expenditure report. So in your board packet, as well as in your email, you have a copy of this presentation, and it has some embedded links for you to see the more lengthy documents. I didn't want to have in the spreadsheet 25 pages for one document. And so that's where you'll see this link that says STEM additional costs. For the report details, there was only one change from this period from last period to this period, and that is we received an invoice in the architects column. So last month we reported that we anticipate $5,650.60 being the remaining balance to TRIA, and currently we are now at $5,125.60. And so this is where we are here. But if you like, I can read all those numbers for you.
No, thank you.
Okay, very well. Moving forward, we are now, do we have any questions regarding the STEM balance? Very well. Moving forward to the BMO expenditures. So these expenditures are also in the payables report. This just identifies what was used with the district card, which payments were used by district credit card. And so we have $10,666, I don't like that number, and 89 cents, but that was our expenditures for January and February that's reported in March. Are there any questions regarding these expenditures? Very well. And we have gone over the change order, so the only thing I have to mention here is that this link, all I did was took the report from last month of the transportation plan, and I embedded it here so that way you'll have a copy in this document as well as you have it in your board packet. If you would like for me to go through that plan again, by all means I will, but you have it in your board report.
I would say yes, because we have the community sitting here so that they can see what we're talking about when we speak dollars. So we could just look at that then.
Very well. Oh, it's not going to allow me to click on that document here. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
If not, we could just bring it back for next month.
So it's the same report from last month. I do believe I have the information here. The only thing that is the public won't be able to see it again. So if you like for me, I could just present it during the next board meeting to show that plan and what that plan looks like again.
Yeah, because we approving it tonight. That way they can see our approved plan.
Perfect.
Okay.
Very well. If there are no further questions, this concludes my board report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you so much for your superintendent report. At this time, I turn it over to Mrs. Phillips for our opportunity to address the board.
The Board of Education Public Comments Forum. Thank you for attending the Board of Education meeting. The following policies and procedures will be followed for those persons requesting to make public comments. Our guidelines: comment forms submitted after the start of the regular board meeting will not be addressed. The Board of Education will not engage in a debate if a comment or question requires additional research or data. The district will post such information to the district website within 5 business days of the board meeting. All responses to questions may be viewed under the Board of Education drop-down menu at www.dist159.com. The Board of Education meeting is a business meeting held in public. Please note the Board of Education's practice requires that members not respond to the public. Attendees are advised to refrain from making comments to the Board of Education as well. If you are unable to speak, you may submit your comment in writing and it will be shared with each board member. The Board of Education recognizes the right and desire of the public to express their thoughts concerning the school district by way of making a public comment. Anyone wanting to address the Board of Education should do so in an orderly manner during the public comment portion of the meeting. in order to ensure an orderly meeting. However, comments, disruptions, and/or outbursts during the business portion of this meeting will not be permitted. If members of the public disrupt the Board of Education meeting, we will take any and all steps necessary in order to ensure the proper decorum is reestablished. This can include such persons being removed from the premises so that we can accomplish the necessary business of the board. We thank you for your cooperation and understanding. Persons making public comments will be allowed 3 minutes. The Board of Education may extend or reduce the time limits at its discretion. The Board of Education will limit the number of public comments on a particular topic or issue. If you are a member of a group or organization involved in the same issue, you should coordinate your comments with others to avoid repetition. I'm going to call names, and you guys can come up to the podium. Mr. Trevor Edgecombe.
You need your paper? Do you need your paper?
No? Okay. Hi.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. All I would like is the policy to be brought up about non-employee coaches for our district. And then, if possible, board look at it and maybe amend.
Okay.
Cool?
All right, thank you so much.
We need to know the policy. Mr.
Edgecombe,
Edgecombe,
I'm sorry.
please come here.
I don't know the policy, that's why.
What is the policy that you're referring to?
I don't know the policy. That's
Then
why.
how will you know if we agree?
No, if somebody would look it up or, you know.
Chris, is that not a policy? I think it's just in the CBA that teachers get the first right to be a coach because they get paid. So instead of, that's like their extra income for them, so right?
I believe that's the extra income that teachers look forward to when they want to coach and things like that. That's like an extra income for them. So that's why it goes to the teachers and the staff first. Then, I'm not sure why I never went out to the parents, but I believe that's the reason when we did negotiations, that it goes to the staff.
Is that like a district union thing or community thing? Like,
It's a district union thing.
district union thing? Okay.
So what is it that you'd like to see done or changed? What are you requesting?
I'm just requesting like the community members that would actually like to input their knowledge into athletics or whatever it is, be given that opportunity also. Because
Okay,
we are, you know,
that's-
actually part of the community.
Now,
Okay.
Chris, can I ask?
That was unclear. Thank you.
If we have the teachers that take on the job, can parents, especially of course with a background check, things like that, can they volunteer? It just not be a paid
Oh, yeah,
job?
I'm doing that as we speak.
So are you wanting it to be paid? So,
No,
just so we'll
not at
know
all.
how to,
Just that, I just kind of been hitting blockage trying to, you know, do something just for the community.
okay.
And that's,
That sound like
the
it should
door
be
is
easy.
not open.
Yeah, if it's not a paid, then that sound like that should be easy, to just allow community parents to volunteer alongside
But shouldn't
of the staff.
volunteers also be checked out before they?
Yeah, that's what I said,
Yeah, I mean,
background, of course.
follow the process first, right?
They have to
okay.
do that, they have to do that even to go on field trips.
Right,
So
right,
that's the
right,
standard.
right. Follow
I'm
the
just-
process
yeah.
first, and then it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, but ongoing on that is, as a volunteer, you still have to have a employee district staff member at particular facilities, like say you're a practice, that said staff member has to be there. Like they can't miss. If they miss, then we don't have any.
Oh, okay, so you want to be able to, even though it's volunteer, to be able to have full control as well?
Right,
Okay.
just like, you know, still continue to do what you have to do.
Right.
You say that you've had some blockages. Can you give us an example? Not trying to add any controversy, but I'd like to know what have been some of the situations where this didn't work out.
Well,
or
just
you
as
think-
a parent volunteer, you know, I can't get into the door unless it's a district employee.
Okay.
That's, that's the only thing.
You want to be able to fully volunteer and not just at will of the employee.
Mhm. And that goes for
Understand?
anything. If they need help on field trips, whatever it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Payne, I have you, and then I also have a teacher who want to speak on your behalf. I don't know who wants to address.
Really appreciate it, as this may be my last official board meeting as the principal of Mary Yates. So my year in review, I started the school year out positive and hopeful at the possibility of building and forging new relationships with district leadership. I'll always do my best to support those individuals in leadership roles, as I feel it should be reciprocal. Through my observation, I quickly realized that senior level administration was not interested in building relationships with me. A few days prior to the opening of the school year, I was notified that an underperforming non-tenured teacher would be placed in my building. Despite my objection, the teacher was placed, and an additional staff member was summoned to another school at 3:15 on Friday before school started on Monday. Moving forward, early in September, school leaders learned at a Tuesday principals meeting that district office wanted board configurations placed in the front boards. On that Friday, I met with all staff members throughout the day, informed and showed them the expectation. I even ran to Home Depot to get green tape so we all would be uniform. By the following Monday, regardless of their complaints, 85% of my classrooms had board configurations visible. That quickly fell by the wayside. At this point, I felt unsupported, as the communication I received read more of a reprimand than communication. On September 26th, I requested the purchase of 2 additional programs to support students, and have only received the response, "Let me take a look at this and I'll follow back up with you." As I brought it back up in November, I was told that teachers were not using all components of the reading and math series, so there would be no additional purchases. In October, I received yet another scathing email regarding vacation days I requested in June. The confirmation was placed in ASAP July 30th. I fully communicated my intentions around September 2nd, even handing a copy of the specific days to my supervisor and following up with the email regarding building coverage. There was no acknowledgement of that communication. On October 27th, there was a beginning of the year learning round. During that meeting, there was a lack of respect for me as the leader of Yates, as no courtesy was given. The subtleness of not having a place at the conference table in my own building spoke volumes. It was very apparent at that meeting that I would be standing before you during the month of March as an administrator. I also requested additional support at that meeting regarding an evaluative matter. My exact words were, "I need help." It was later reported to me that one administrator stated, "Payne is checked out." Days after, there was no follow-up to my request. Although I felt marginalized and insignificant, I continued to support Mary Yates teachers by immediate communication of expectations from bi-monthly principals meeting, regular attending meetings with teachers and administration, and assisting in classrooms, doing the work hand in hand. I was scheduled for my first formal observation December 14th, my father's birthday, as he passed 12 years ago, where I showed 2 novice teachers in depth how to utilize the Educational Epiphany resource guides with no training. I showed them the standards or the critical concepts, utilization of performance-based objectives, how to locate the academic language, and incorporate quick critical questions to assess student learning. I received very poor marks on my evaluation. However, on Friday, January 12th, less than a month later, all administrators received formal training from Dr. Dickey himself, where he did the exact same thing with the incorporation of the standards. But basically, I did the same thing and still got unfavorable marks. And I'm supposed to believe there's something wrong with me, as I anticipated what teachers needed, did the research, and gave it to them. It was becoming increasingly clear that there's a bias coming from senior level administration toward me, although my teachers are thriving using educational epiphany materials. I've been told that my teachers are some of the least resistant to change in the district. One person even told me, if I could clone your teachers, I would. They really are thriving. This by no accident. My teachers are thriving due to my influence and leadership at Mary Yates. I have taken the time to build strong relationships with my teachers. Over the years, I've learned that people will go an extra mile when they know you care about them and listen to them. I do not have and felt a sense of psychological safety as our superintendent has asked us to create in our schools. As I am completing my 6th year in district, I have made sacrifices like moving to Colin Powell. Not a comfortable decision, but a decision that I believe was best for the district. After being there for 2 years, I was happy to return home, only to find myself homeless. There has been irreparable damage by those should have been attempting to cultivate and grow me. So to the board, regardless of your decision tonight to non-renew me as a principal of Mary Yates, I thank you for the opportunity to thrive in 159.
Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Jennifer Codell, is it Codell? Okay.
Hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Good evening, board, and thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity. I'm going to read a letter on behalf of my colleagues and also staff at Mara Yates. You can't hear me. You can hold. They don't give us microphones in the classroom. All right, that better? Okay.
I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Ms. Cole, Jennifer Cole. I teach 2nd grade. Dear school board members, we, the staff of Mara Yates, who have signed this letter, are disheartened to hear about the decision to reclassify Principal Payne. We are asking you to reconsider this decision and allow him to remain principal of Mara Yates Elementary School. Although Mr. Payne has been in our district for 6 years, he is not given the opportunity to consistently lead Mara Yates due to circumstances out of his control. In 2020, the board accepted the resignation of Colin Powell's principal, and Payne assumed the position as principal there, after the school year had already commenced. In the first 2 years he was at Yates, he worked to promote academic achievement by improving teacher capacity and placed high expectations on teachers and students. He stated that his mission was to help every student succeed despite any circumstance or adversities. He tirelessly promoted the importance of building and improving reading fluency. He also promoted student reading stamina and launched an initiative to build fluency. In 2021, we were thrilled to have his return to Yates so he could continue his work that he began. Principal Payne has consistently been a solid leader for our staff, students, and parents. Because of this, Principal Payne has effectively supported district initiatives and mandates, such as Educational Epiphany. He frequently conducts informal walkthroughs, giving feedback and offering his professional help suggestions to us to better our craft. Research shows that principals are the primary agents of change to improve teachers' performance and student achievement in their schools. We feel Principal Payne has not had a fair opportunity to do so. Just as the teachers, Mr. Payne has adjusted well to the new administration. We believe that it would be fair to allow him to continue to do the same. We would like you to consider the students, staff, and families that would be affected by this decision. Thank you for taking time to hear our concerns. Regards, the Mary Yates staff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Board President, that's all the questions we have for tonight.
Thank you all so much for attending our Board of Education meeting tonight for March 8th. At this time, I would like to make a motion to go to closed session to discuss the employment, compensation, discipline, collective negotiation, bargaining, and board self-evaluation.
Motion. Motion by Mrs. Ashcroft.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Palmer. Roll call Brown. Yes. Ashcroft. Yes. Franklin. Morton. Yes. Palmer. Yes. Phillips.
Yes.
And Scott.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll be back going into closed session. Mr. Payne, I would like to ask if we can speak to you in closed session. I mean, it's up to you. If you would like to come, because we were informed that you were asked to address the board in regards to your evaluation previously, and you denied. So now that you've come to us again, we would like to speak to you in closed session. Okay.
And somebody turned in the form afterwards. This, no, that one is something totally different, right?
This one's the same.
Yeah.
Which one is? Free class or principal statement?
It's the same.
But we only did
It
3
wasn't
and
in
it was 4, so it's 4.
I'm sorry, there's no name on here. If you want to come up to speak, please.
You do have to fill out the form, and you're supposed to fill out the form in its entirety.
Oh, we got to open. Oh,
Yeah, I
Just
am.
1 second. That's why I say it's all the same.
No, but it was still there before the forms. So at this time, I would like to make a motion to reconvene the meeting. It is now 8:09 p.m. So motion to reconvene.
Motion. Second. Yes.
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 All right, so the same rules do apply that was read earlier. Go ahead.
Oh, you can come up.
Yeah, I don't want her to have to read the whole thing over in its entirety again.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ashanta Akiwowo. I'm here with my husband, Mr. Christopher Akiwowo. We had one additional parent with us, Miss Alicia Turner, and I believe that in the shift, we might have lost our additional parent. But we have a prepared statement on behalf. Will you turn the mic? Is it not on?
It's on, you just probably gotta put it closer.
We have a prepared statement on behalf of the parents, and then I have some personal statements as well in regards to the reclassification of Principal Payne. So, of course, this board is well familiar with Mr. Payne's extensive tenure as a principal since 2006. He's been a principal for 17 years. He also spent 3 years as a coordinator of leadership development and professional growth. Prior to resuming work as a school principal, that was not only in the public school, but also at the Illinois Department of Justice. Why is that important to me? Well, I'm an attorney. I represent children in foster care. I represent families, children with special needs, IEPs, and children that are involved in the juvenile delinquency system. So what I want to say about his experience as having worked as the coordinator of leadership development and professional growth, and also at the Illinois Department of Justice, is that we want our Black and our brown children to see him model the professionals that they can be when they grow up. We want our Black and our brown boys to see him in this role as a school principal while they are at home with their families and enrolled in school. Not serving juvenile detention sentences that are away from their homes after they've committed serious crimes that require incarceration. He is a role model to our community. Why do I care personally? Because I have 2 children at Yates, a 4th grader and a 1st grader. And my 1st grader is a son with special education needs. His preschool therapies began at Yates while my elder child was enrolled in a private school. But after COVID and Mr. Payne's return to Yates, I felt very comfortable with the school environment, and I was ready to have my children enrolled there. My son's autism diagnosis was first identified by the special education staff at Yates under Mr. Payne's leadership. When we followed up with our medical diagnosis and our neuropsychologist reviewed my son's current IEP, she gave kudos and accolades to the plan that Yates had put in place. And again, she found that the goals that the special education staff under Mr. Payne's leadership were appropriate goals, which she does not commonly find when she does medical evaluations for autism after school evaluations. She went on and applauded the work that the staff at Yates had already done on behalf of my child. Finally, as a mother, I speak with other mothers very often here in the Southland with schools in our neighboring districts that have children on the autism spectrum. Their needs are not always being accounted for. Case studies are not always being granted. IEPs and 504 behavior plans are not always being implemented. And I have never for 1 second worried that that would not exist here at Yates. If I may have just one more moment, I'm almost finished. So lastly, I want to let you know why my kids actually care. First of all, my son complains about going to school. His best day of the weeks are Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays when there's a holiday. When he complains about school, he complains about the curriculum, he complains about his teacher, and he complains about Mr. Payne. But why does he complain about Mr. Payne? Because he knows that Mr. Payne cares. He considers him in the same category as his classroom teacher and his peers and Mr. Payne, from right there in front of him to the top. And when last Friday the snow day was canceled or prepared for and then called a non-snow day and the children had to go to school, my daughter's first statement was, I'm going to talk to Mr. Payne about this. Why? Because she knows that he's open and that he's ready to hear from the students and that they can fully engage with him. And so these are my reasons as to why I asked that the board reconsider this reclassification of Principal Payne. We need to keep him at Yates. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Christopher,
Are we?
Again, just like what Ashanta had indicated, Mr. Payne has been nothing but a stellar role model for my children, especially my son Joshua. He looks up to Mr. Payne for things that he's having trouble with, especially on a daily basis and things of that nature. And Mr. Payne has always been that person to step up and help my son. So I want this board to really strongly reconsider keeping him on board. And also, I wanted to also find out, what is actually the problem? What is it that, why? This is a great man, and according to some of his grievances that he's articulated, I just wanted to find out, what is it that you guys found? What was the issue? I think that's a fair question.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We also have Nicole Tidewell Hall. I'm not sure if she's still with us. Oh, you can approach.
Just like the last couple, have two children at Yates. I also have two children at Yates. Is that better?
Yeah, you just have to speak into it.
Okay. My third grader, she's very timid, very shy, but extremely smart. When she started second grade, she had a lot of trouble reading and a little bit of trouble with math, but she loves math and science. With the help that was given at Yates, I think it's a reading specialist, she is now exceeding NWA scores, as well as doing exceedingly well with the math. And this is under the leadership of Principal Payne. My son, again, looks to, it was also mentioned, Mr. Payne as a role model as well. He also looks up to Coach Carl or Coach Scott. But he loves knowing that if he's not in school, Mr. Payne is going to deal with him. He's going to have detention. So if he hears he's going to have detention, it's like, uh-oh, this is big trouble. I can't have detention. My mom's not going to buy me anything if I have to see my principal. And I think my son being in kindergarten, understanding that, and has his mind set on the role models within his community, similar to you, knowing that Coach Scott is the football coach. My daughter was a cheerleader under Coach Scott. So my family loves being in this community where it is a village that's helping to raise the family. And taking out certain role models, we really don't need. So please reconsider what's being done with Mr. Payne. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you all so much. As I mentioned, we did not want that to miss anyone, so we did reconvene the meeting for that. So at this time, I'll make another motion to go into closed session for appointment, compensation, negotiation, collective bargaining. Make motion?
Second.
Second.
Yes.
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 Thank you so much.
And
We will
thank
be
you.
back out. would like to, we did already make the motion to go into open session, so I would like to make a motion to approve our consent agenda. So motion to approve the open and closed session minutes for our special meeting on February 7th, 2023, and special minutes meeting for February 4th through the 5th, 2023. Motion to approve the accounts payable and payroll as follows. Payroll for February 10th, 2023 for $918,173.53. Payroll for February 14th, 2023 for $454.76. And payroll for February 24th, 2023 for $908,651.18. Approval of accounts payable through February 2023, $960,951.08. Approval of the 2023-2024 fiscal year calendar. Approval of the policy number 110 final read. Approval of the salary range. Approval of transportation. Approval of panorama, and approval of the change orders number 27, 30, and 33. Motion to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Palmer,
Second.
and second by Mrs. Phillips. Brown? Yes. Edgecombe? Yes. Franklin? Gordon?
Yes.
Palmer? Yes. Phillips?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Motion to approve our approved certified staff employment. Bridget McHarrison McDonald, internal transfer pre-K teacher at Woodgate. Tanya Fields, salary increase. Dr. Cortez McCoy, salary increase. Janisa Owens, Dana Ash, Marcellus Butler, Cherie Davis, Sheila Friday, Miriam McCoy, Lisa O'Donovan, Megan Valaparampio, Cena Perham, Robert Trish, Sharon Etherly, Latanya McCaskill, Jason Streeter, Aaron Thorne, Angela Barnes, Richard Brown, LaWanda Gordon, Ashley Jarrell, Dr. Brian Mays, Michelle Tancredi, and Rose Willard for the upcoming contract salary increase. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Phillips, and second by Mrs. Edgecombe. Brown? Yes. Edgecombe?
Yes.
Franklin? Gordon?
Yes.
Palmer? Phillips?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Motion to approve the support staff employment and termination. Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Palmer,
Second.
second by Mrs. Phillips. Brown? Edgecombe?
That's not what you think. That's not that one. That's the support staff.
Read it again, please.
Motion to approve our support staff, hire and resignation. I'll just read the names. Ali Mahmoud, hire maintenance mechanic, district office. Asia Dye. You okay now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't hearing it.
Okay, so motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Scott, second by Edgecombe. Brown?
Yes.
Edgecombe?
Yes.
Franklin? Morton?
Yes.
Palmer? Phillips?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Motion to approve our supplemental committees for after-school tutorial program, session 1. Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Phillips, second by Palmer. Roll call Brown? Yes. Edgecombe?
Yes.
Franklin? Morton? Palmer? Phillips? Scott?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion to approve our memorandum of agreement for the Black History and memorandum of agreement for the extra duty rate. Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Edgecombe,
Second.
second by Phillips. Brown?
Yes.
Edgecombe?
Yes.
Franklin? Morton?
Yes.
Palmer? Phillips?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Motion to approve the reassignment or transfer of the MTSS coordinators. Motion.
Motion by Palmer,
Second.
second by Phillips. Brown?
Yes.
Edgecombe?
Yes.
Franklin? Morton?
Yes.
Palmer? Phillips? Yes. Scott?
Yes.
Motion to approve the reclassification of principal of Mara Yates. Motion.
Motion.
Motion by
No.
Franklin? Morgan?
Yes.
Palmer? Phillips?
Yes.
Scott?
All right, he's passing. Back to you, Brown.
Abstain. Abstain?
He's back on me.
So you have three yeses, one no, one abstain.
Oh, that's right, it did.
Why, because it's three?
Right. That's right. It carried. That's fine. Put abstain in.
Motion to approve the non-renewal of the probationary teacher.
Motion.
Motion by Phillips, second by Palmer. Brown? Edgecombe?
Yes.
Franklin? Morgan?
Yes.
Palmer? Phillips?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
At that, and this adjourns our meeting, so motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
Edgecombe? Second by Palmer. Brown?
It's adjourned. I know, but where's the approval part for that, that chart that we discussed back there? Was that for approval?
That was, yeah, we already did that.
Apparently so.
So motion to adjourn?
Motion.
It was motion by Edgecombe, second by Palmer. Brown?
Yeah.
Edgecombe?
Yes.
Franklin? Morgan?
Yes.
Palmer? Phillips?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you all so much. You have a great evening.